Thank you all so much for joining us today. We have a wonderful panel with three of our European batch startups. So with us is Simon from Interface Polymers, David from Impact Recycling, and Stephanie from Itheon. So first, I'd like to just pass it along. Maybe, Stephanie, we can start with you. Just a quick introduction of yourself and your startup, and then we'll just keep going from there.
All right. Hello, my name is Stephanie Avalos, and I work as a Chief Projects Officer at Itheon Limited. Itheon is an award-winning technologies company that was born out of the laboratories of Imperial College London in 2017. And we aim to develop replicable, scalable technological solutions to one of the world's most pressing environmental issues, which is plastic pollution.
David?
Yes, thank you. My name is David. I'm the CEO of Impact Recycling, and we have developed a technology called BOSS that separates post-consumer plastic into its constituent parts with up to 98% purity. And we also have developed some additives that go with that can change the melt flow rate and the color of plastic using what is in total a mechanical recycling process. We have a plant that's based in Newcastle in the northeast of England, and we're developing further plants in the south of England and in northern Europe. They're the two plants we expect to develop in 2021, before obviously then trying to move out to the States and other parts of the world.
Great, thank you. Simon?
Yes, Simon Waddington. I'm the Business Development Director of Interface Polymers. And Interface Polymers has a unique die block technology that allows you to compatibilize different polymers. So we're really focused in recycling in the area of mixed plastics. So many multi-layer films, many different types of plastic waste that contain different plastics that are incompatible. We provide the technology that allows you to bring them together and reuse them into high-value applications.
Great. So all three of you are actually, you're part of our European batch program that kicked off at the end of April, and have all been kind of working together on kind of forming different collaborations or strategies or just learnings from one another. So I'd love to pass it first to Stephanie and Simon. Both your companies have, started kind of doing some strategy and collaboration together. So I'd love to just learn a little bit more on, what kind of led to that and what that partnership is looking like right now and what you both hope to achieve with that partnership together.
All right, I'll go first. Well, we had begun working on our Benioff Ocean Initiative project by the time we joined the program. And that project is deploying currently in Manabí, Ecuador. And their business model is based on having an integral solution to the plastics pollution problem in the city that we're working in. So in this case, we started looking for different technologies that would allow us to recycle the plastic that we were extracting from the Puerto Viejo River. We were looking at different solutions, and then by that time we joined the program, and we came across Impact Recycling's technology and their strategy. So we had exchanges with David and realized that this was the right solution for us. We've been working throughout this time in developing a memorandum of understanding and how that exchange is going to look like into the future. And basically, we're going to be having Impact Recycling be our ally in implementing this project, as far as being able to provide the tech support for us to implement this technology in Ecuador.
Oh, that's absolutely fantastic to hear. And I mean, that type of collaboration is very much needed. And, we're very thrilled to hear how it happened so organically and how both parties are really benefiting from working with one another. Maybe Simon, if I can turn it over to you, I'd love to hear about your collaboration with Stephanie and David.
Yeah, well, our collaboration is mainly with David, and it was really from the first meeting, first sort of session we had together. So we've been very focused on taking the low-hanging fruit, which has been the post-industrial waste. So when people make packaging, they have waste from just making the packaging. Before it even gets to the consumer, there's waste. And that's going to landfill, incineration, et cetera, today. So we've been taking that. It's a waste that's already segregated. You can manage it. It can be processed. So that was quite good for us, and that's what we've been pushing for. But we've had a lot of people coming to us and say, well, what are you going to do with the post-consumer waste? And we've been telling people, well, we can manage it, but you've got to be able to sort it. If you come to us with a multi-layer film that's not 100% polyethylene but contains other polymers, we can do something with it. We can convert it back into a polymer that's useful, that can go back into the supply chain, but you've got to learn to separate it. So we were aware there's quite a lot of separation technologies out there. But when I saw what David was doing with his second generation system, and correct me, David, it's BOSS 2, I think you're calling it, yeah. When I saw what he was doing there, I was thinking, that solves the consumer recycling. Once he's able to do that and separate that multi-layer film waste, we can then take that and drive that back into the packaging industry so that it can be reused. So it was a perfect fit. We're at the stage now where he's given us the first materials to evaluate. They're going to generate some more materials so that we can take those and evaluate them. But we have several customers already willing to try and evaluate those products and waiting for us to feed the supply chain with those systems. So it filled a gap that we saw, that we knew would get filled. And the nice thing about, the plug and play APW program is it brought everyone together. So it's much easier for us to communicate together and to be able to make some of those things happen.
That's absolutely great. And, Simon, I'd love to just build off of that point. The plastics value chain is incredibly complex, especially, when it's just in one geography, but when you start going to different geographies, there's a lot of nuances that, people aren't quite aware of, or there's gaps that, you may not be able to really fill, but you need different types of partners and collaborators to come online. And I think that's really the purpose of the whole program, is for people from all different parts of the value chain to really come together, ultimately to drive this common mission of, reducing and ending plastic waste all around the world. And there's a lot of different solutions that are needed in order to do this. So, this is a question I'd like to open up for everyone is, what do you feel is still needed, and where do you feel, essentially the audience and different people watching this can help out, and kind of what your goal is for essentially, the rest of this year in 2021, also working together to really drive that impact. So a few different questions in there.
Maybe I can
please.
One of those, just while I've got an idea in my head, is, I think there's a lot of people looking for the total solution, and because, Stephanie's got a bit of a solution, David's got a bit of a solution, and we have a bit of a solution, so the different companies. We found it quite powerful, and I hope you agree, David, when we've done a presentation together to a brand owner, for instance, they start to see all the bits fitting together. And I think, maybe as an industry, we've got to start presenting the total solution to some people so that it helps them put it all into perspective. And we're not doing a very good job of that. But I think these types of programs can help that, where you've got all different parts of the solution. But maybe we need to fit the jigsaw together a bit better when we present to the industry. But I see that as very, very powerful. And that's what we've created, sort of initiated here with some of these programs.
Yeah,
I agree with Simon. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Stephanie.
No, I was just going to agree with Simon. I think that one of the main issues for us when we presented our technology was to know what we're going to do with the waste that's collected, with whatever residue or debris is brought out of the river, because it's going in due to the fact that there is an inefficient waste management system in the city. So we need to make sure that we're able to solve that issue and it doesn't just keep going into the river in a cycle. So finding these technologies to fit in and to be able to just complement the different activities that we're doing has allowed us also to be able to bring in other stakeholders. In our case, we've been able to bring in the local prefecture as one of the investors for the project, just because they've been able to see an integral solution that not only helps with the waste management issue, with the plastics pollution problem, with the river contamination problem, but also as a productive solution that generates a new industry for the province that isn't being tackled at this point. And as David mentioned, being able to work with these vulnerable groups, having the collaboration of base recyclers or informal waste pickers, and just being able to give them better, just a better way to continue with their with the work that they do and to improve their livelihoods has also been a great part of this project. And I definitely agree that being able to fit in these different pieces and find different technologies that help us solve the same issue has been one of the main strengths that we found.
Yeah, and I think what's definitely helped me has been I think I've found in Estienne and Stephanie in particular, and Simon in Interface, is just an openness to actually interact with other companies. And definitely the two opportunities we got here were definitely as a result of very open, transparent conversations very early on, when other people might have said, you shouldn't have said this, you shouldn't have said that. But it was just us being, definitely Stephanie and Simon both, and hopefully myself, saying this is exactly what we do. Because take our conversation with Simon, for example, our technology as it exists today is for three-dimensional materials, for rigids. So that's our factory in Newcastle. Our R&D is into two-dimensional material, and that's where Simon's additive comes in and can help us with the laminate material that we separate. But that conversation came from us just kind of dumping out exactly what we do and everything we're trying to do to Simon, and him listening to that. And then with Stephanie and what's going on, Hinthi and Estienne, similarly, I didn't see really that there was any collaboration between, their technology is really focused on a river and, them taking out, and it's at a trial stage, and it might be like number of tons, not thousands of tons at the moment. So when we picked up the phone, there's nothing really there. But I think it's interesting the competition allowed us to pick up the phone and say, okay, so what are you doing? And because we're not really competing together, we're competing for a big pot of money, there's enough for everybody. And from that, I think, again, they were open enough to go, all right, but if we really want to stop it getting into the water, just like Stephanie says, we should actually deal with the problem before it gets into the water. Now, we'll collect anything that's in the water, but really the bigger problem is stop it getting in. So, and I think both companies we're dealing with and us, have adapted a little bit. I didn't think that we would be collaborating. I was kind of coming into the competition looking maybe for a waste company to give us supply, or for a big finance company to give us money. But the best collaborations we've probably had to date are where we've both kind of looked to the future a bit and adapted. So I think the openness is important.
I could not agree more with you. And, it's absolutely great to hear, it sounds like everyone had expectations going into the program. And along the way, kind of discovered all these new partnerships and collaborations and opportunities. And that really only comes with, being open-minded, not being afraid to present what you're working on or talk to other people, and just saying, hey, this is what we're doing. We'd love to work with you. And again, I cannot thank you all so much more. I cannot thank you enough for being part of this program, especially in the craziness, what is COVID, but it sounds like you guys have all formed some fantastic collaborations together. And so I know we're kind of at the end of our panel discussion, and I just want to have final quick words from everyone. What do you hope to accomplish in 2021 together, as a kind of leave and last message of inspiration to everyone?
Start again. Yeah. Okay. So 2021, first of all, I really appreciate what the Plug and Play and AEPW have done. I think they've introduced us to a lot of other companies as well. So that's really good. In 2021, our main target is let's get that first plant where significant amount of material, thousands of tons that currently goes to landfill, gets reused into the plastic waste stream in a high value application. That's our target for 2021, as simple as that. And we're going to need help to do that. So we just hope everybody can help us, and we get support from everybody around. Some of the big companies, some of the small companies we're talking to, to really make that happen.
On our end, we're also very grateful for what we've gained from the program, the experiences, the exchanges that we've had. It's definitely taught us a lot as a company. We're looking forward to continuing with our deployments, particularly the one where we're going to be collaborating with Impact Recycling in Manaví. We're looking forward to finishing the contract for the joint venture with the local government and starting with the implementation of the recycling plant. We know that this is going to be an opportunity for all of us, not just Ixion as a company and not just for the prefecture, but really for the community, to learn more about the plastics pollution problem. And in general, I think as a company, for us to be just a step closer to our ultimate goal, which is to stop plastic and other suspended solids from going into rivers and ultimately into the ocean.
David, final words?
Suppose for us, we're very excited about both projects. I think, it's very exciting to be dealing with river waste and marine waste in Ecuador, and also changing the working conditions of base recyclers so that they get a decent wage, and that we're actually helping that infrastructure that existing infrastructure that's collecting the waste. But I think then it's equally important that once we take in the waste, that we recycle it as high grade as we possibly can. So using the compatibilizers that Simon has got in Interface Polymers allows us to, create, take post-consumer film and make consumer film from it, so that it can be used again. So for us, I suppose it's really getting the funding in place for both these projects so that, to me, the Alliance has been fantastic for the collaboration. And now the last piece of the jigsaw is the funding to come in behind us, because they're both great projects. And 2021 for me is looking forward to actually doing both of them.
That's great. So, for everyone at home watching this, we are going to put up a slide with Simon, David, and Stephanie's contact information. So if you want to get involved or ask them any questions, please feel free to reach out to them. And again, thank you all so much for joining us today for this panel discussion. It's been a pleasure working with all of you and hearing about the different collaborations and the exciting projects that you're already working on and what's to come. So thank you all.
Thank you.